Hey everyone, Lisa Salvatore here. Today we are talking about Goddess Asteroid Juno. The reason why I've decided to do this video on Juno is because in my Leo new moon video with some of July, which you can find linked below, I mentioned Juno's station retrograde on July the 19th until December 24th of this year. And as I started talking about it, I realized that that would probably be a good video to do because I feel personally that Juno does not get enough airtime. You hear about her a lot, but I don't think she's explained enough. And I also find her to be very, very meaty, not needy, meaty when it comes to our birth charts and where and how she represents the spouse, the marriage partner in our birth chart, the soulmate. Now, not to be confused by saying that your marriage partner, your spouse, your soulmate has to be the sign that your Juno falls in, because it does not. But your Juno sign shows what you need, want, and desire in your partnerships, all partnerships, but specifically, yes, of course, romantic partnerships. So if you are single, you're definitely going to want to listen to this and find your Juno sign to see how this energy plays out for you. Now, the thing about Juno is that she is multi-layered. So yes, she does show the marriage partner, the spouse, the traits of that person in our life, but Juno is also about equality. It's also about inequality within our partnerships. And I'm going to get into the mythology of Juno so that we can understand this on a deeper level. But Juno is not all about fairy tales and rainbows and magnificent love affairs. It is also about where we can be betrayed or where we could be the betrayer. There's many different ways that this Juno energy can take form. There's a higher vibrational expression, and then there's a lower vibrational expression of Juno, as with every other planet and asteroid. Now, when it comes to relationships, especially romantic relationships, we normally look to Venus and Mars and the moon to see what it is that we genuinely like and attract and connect with and desire and find pleasing, and also what attracts us and motivates us and drives us, which would be Mars, where Venus is more about what is sweet to us and what helps us to connect, what we connect to. But Juno is a whole nother layer, and I really feel that it's extremely important and significant to get a handle on your Juno to see where she falls in your birth chart so that you get a deeper layer into your own soul about what it is that you truly need, want, and desire from your partnerships. Specifically romantic, but not always only romantic, okay? Now, while Juno is retrograde, which again, Juno station retrograde on July the 19th and will be retrograde until December 24th. So while Juno's retrograde, this is much more of an internal process. It's not going to be as obvious, but especially if you are a Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, or Virgo, or you have your Juno in those signs, especially if those placements of your Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, or Sagittarius, which are our mutable signs, fall between 27 degrees and 21 degrees, because that's roughly where this retrograde energy is going back and forth between. The retrograde starts at 21 degrees of Pisces and will go all the way back to 7 degrees of Pisces until it stations direct. So those with those points and placements are going to be feeling this Juno retrograde the strongest, but everyone will feel it. And what happens when Juno stations retrograde is that the quality of our partnerships, the nature of our partnerships comes up for review. Now, if you are in a committed relationship, romantic, and there have been some things that have been going on that you have not been happy with and you've been stuffing them under the rug, amongst many other things that are going on right now, Juno retrograde will be pointing them out to you in less than obvious ways, but you will feel them very deeply, okay? And you will be more inclined to correct these wrongdoings, whether they're by you or by another party in your life, or if you're looking to decide if you want to continue on with a specific relationship, or if it's time to part ways and end the relationship, okay? Because you can also have epiphanies throughout the Juno retrograde about how things can work out for the better, and that things are actually really good and they just need to be refreshed. So there's a lot of good that can come with this, but of course, like everything else, it's a mixed bag, and you can decide at the end of the retrograde that you want to sever a connection, a relationship. Now, more than likely, we're going to be referring to soulmate relationships, romantic relationships, but soulmates come in all forms. They are platonic, they're friendships, they're business associates, it's not just romantic. However, Juno does tend to have the connotation of more of the romantic element to it. But our Juno sign does show more about what we like in our partnerships and relationships and what we expect and where we shine the brightest with specific traits and the type of people or the person as the marriage partner, that what we need in our marriage partner. Now, you do not always end up with your Juno sign. So I want you to think more broad about this in a much more broader perspective, because let's say your Juno falls in the sign of Gemini and you don't have a whole lot of Gemini going on in your chart otherwise, and your spouse is an Aries. Okay, that's not Gemini, clearly. But maybe your spouse has a lot of Gemini traits, or they have Gemini amplified elsewhere in their birth chart. It doesn't mean they have to be a Gemini, so don't attach yourself to that. It's more about the energy of the sign, okay? And what it represents and how it plays out. Because the sign that Juno falls in is the way you're going to express it, and it's what you're going to be wanting to draw in. But it doesn't mean you always will, especially at the first try, okay? You may have to go through love a few times in order to get it right. You may have to go through a couple of really heavy partnerships on every single level, whether it be platonic or business or personal or professional. You may have to go through several different rungs of these energies until you feel that you get it right for you. But it doesn't mean that if it's not that sign that you've gotten it wrong. So I want to be clear about that. It's more about the energy of the sign. The sign your Juno falls in is how that Juno energy is going to be expressed. And then the house that it falls in is where it will be expressed. And we'll get into each sign for the Junos. But first I want to explain the quick mythology about Juno. Okay, so Juno was one of the most powerful goddesses in Roman mythology. She was married to Jupiter, the king of the gods, and she actually orbits between Mars and Jupiter, and Juno was the queen. Now, the Romans considered Juno not only the queen, but also the queen that would warn them of any danger coming to their empire. Now, there are some major shrines dedicated to Juno and Jupiter, and Minerva, who is the goddess of wisdom, in Capitoline Hill, which is the religious center in Rome. Now, Juno's shrine housed a flock of geese. This was one of the representations of Juno. And as the mythology goes, the honking of the geese are actually what alerted the Romans to enemies sneaking up on their city. And as such, Juno also received special devotion from the Roman women. In fact, the month of June is said to be associated with Juno, the goddess of marriage and soulmates and also fertility, because the month of June is typically associated with weddings. Now, the thing that's really important to remember about Juno, as far as the mythology goes, is that Juno was the very devoted and loyal wife to Jupiter, and Jupiter was consistently unfaithful to Juno. But Juno always had this wavering devotion to Jupiter, even amidst all of his infidelities. And so this is where the shadow energy to Juno comes through and comes in, because this can show where we're loyal to our own detriment, where we can be betrayed and turn the other cheek, or where we ourselves can be the betrayer when we're working out of the lower vibrational Juno energies. So yes, while it does represent the marriage partner, the spouse, the soulmate, it also represents where we might turn a blind eye to things that need to be corrected, and to things that are not fair and not just. And again, Juno is also associated with a lot of the Libran qualities, because this is all about balance and harmony in our partnerships. But there's also a Venus in Scorpio and a Pluto element to Juno too, because there is something very deep about it, and sometimes sinister when we're working with the lower vibrational energies. Okay, so let me quickly show you. This is just one of the slides that I made for one of my courses about Juno. So Juno speaks to relationships one way or another. Juno represents the marriage partner, the spouse, the qualities of a mate, not always our mate, okay, in this lifetime, but these are the qualities, like I mentioned. Juno in our chart is where we look to balance the scales in our partnerships. And again, this is why it's often associated with Libran energy, even if the Juno sign does not fall in Libra. Juno shows where we are triggered, but it's also a place of potential power and empowerment. Now that's why it's also connected to the Pluto energy and the Venus and Scorpio energy. Now the symbol for Juno, the glyph here, is actually the scepter, the cross of matter with the star on top. And I've linked a video below to show you how to identify Juno in your own birth chart on astro.com. Okay, so that's the glyph for Juno. Now again, before I get to Juno through the signs, I just quickly want to mention about this retrograde and why it's significant for partnerships. So any issues that come up around your partnerships or the qualities of the mate that you're looking to attract or to draw in, or a relationship that might be on the fritz, whatever way that works out for you, while Juno's retrograde, you're going to have some epiphanies at specific points of the cycle. And your feelings about it or the situation more than likely will not be fully reconciled until Juno actually stations direct at the end of December, December 24th. Okay, so you can expect some major epiphanies and aha moments surrounding your relationships, the quality of your most intimate relationships, on or around September 7th of 2022. May not be exactly on that date, but right around there. Now, why is this? Well, because on that date specifically, Juno is going to conjunct the sun, which basically means Juno passes right to the heart of the sun and gets engulfed illuminated by the sun's light. There's these epiphanies that can take place at this time. Now, at this point, Juno is going to be at 15 degrees of Pisces. I'm sorry, Juno will not be conjunct the sun. Juno is going to be opposite the sun on September 7th because the sun will be in Virgo and Juno will be at 15 degrees of Pisces, opposite the sun. But this brings in clarifying moments, epiphanies, aha moments about what has been going on. And especially if it's been painful, there will be clarity, there will be a lessening and lightening up of this energy. Even if and though you don't do anything about it just yet, information will still be there for you, will become more clear. And again, because this is happening during Virgo season and Juno is retrograde in Pisces, again, the mutable signs are going to feel this the strongest, which are Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces, especially Virgo and Pisces, especially between the 7 and 21 degree mark. And then again, if Juno's aspecting your major points and or placements in your birth chart, that's going to be very significant as well. Now, obviously, I can't get into all of that because I don't have individual charts in front of me, but I can lead you there by just talking about which sign, what Juno means in each sign. Okay, so let's start with Juno in Aries. So if your Juno falls in the sign of Aries, let's remember that Aries is a fire sign. It's cardinal fire. It's the first sign of the zodiac. And so Aries is used to taking action and being very independent and very bold and very passionate and going after what it wants. So with your Juno in Aries, you really don't want to ever be second place or second fiddle to anyone or anything. And when feeling insecure in your relationships, you can, on the shadow side, resort to some form of manipulation to feel that you're the best or to have others believing that you're the best at whatever it is that you're doing. You don't ever want to be considered as being needy if your Juno falls in the sign of Aries. Now, an ideal partner for Juno in Aries is somebody who allows you your freedom, allows you your space, allows you to be independent, but at the same time has no problem busting through the door and showing their love and their passion for you. Juno in Aries absolutely needs passion in their life, in their relationships. They always want to be able to lead and motivate and do their own thing. And at the same time, they expect their partner to also take the lead and to motivate them, but not to outshine them. Okay, Juno in Taurus. So if your Juno falls in Taurus, Taurus is an earth sign. It is fixed earth. It's very concerned with what it has, okay? What is theirs. And so with Juno in Taurus, there's actually an insecurity about security, about their security emotionally, physically, and spiritually. There's this fear of lack. They don't want to go without. They always want to make sure that they have enough. So when working out of the lower vibration of the Juno and Taurus energy, one can appear to be extremely, or they actually can be extremely possessive of their loved ones and also overindulgent. So this particular Juno sign does best with a partner that can provide a sense of security, but they shouldn't be the ultimate reason for all of their security either, because that's where we get tripped up with Juno and Taurus, and that's where we can come into the lower end of expression. The spiritual lesson here is about generosity and reciprocity. This is not necessarily a materialistic placement, although again, in lower vibration, it absolutely can be all about, wanting to be with somebody for material reasons. But that's not really it with Juno and Taurus. These individuals desire security above all else. There's a deep fear of not having enough. But when they let go of that and they allow their true feelings of comfort and safety to be authentic, that's when they thrive, both with themselves and with others. Juno in Gemini. This Juno placement, Gemini is mutable air. So Gemini is very versatile, very flexible, very expressive, very communicative. Communication is the biggest piece here with Juno and Gemini. These individuals must have strong communication with their loved ones, with their partners, with the spouse, with the person that they end up with. And if they don't, it's really stale, flat, and boring, and they will end up miserable because they absolutely need the intellectual stimulation from their partners. Now, in the lower vibration, Juno and Gemini can absolutely expect too much from their loved ones, from their partners. They may feel threatened if the other person doesn't agree with everything that they think and feel and say. The spiritual lesson here is really for them to take into account all sides, and that yes, it's wonderful to communicate, but you also must allow others to communicate their truth authentically to you without you finding the need to correct them and make them see your point of view all the time. Juno and Gemini individuals crave a partner that will compliment their intelligence and let them know how much they value their mind. It's not so much about the physical with Juno and Gemini, it's more about the mental compatibility. Of course, the physical is a component that should be there, but it's really mental first for Juno and Gemini. Also, these individuals cannot be ignored, and they must have a voice, and they must use their voice in their partnerships, or it just won't work out. Now, for Juno and Cancer, these are particularly sensitive individuals. They really crave ultimate security, comfort, attachment. They want to be with somebody that feels like home in every sense of that word. They are very emotionally attached to their partners, and if they feel like their partner is emotionally detached from them, it is very detrimental to their emotional health. When Juno and Cancer feels threatened or insecure about their relationships, they can sometimes also resort to manipulation the same way that Juno and Aries can. This is where we see the claws of the crab come out, protecting themselves by either a real or perceived threat. Now, in the lower vibration, they can be way too self-protective and actually not let the love in that they crave and end up losing partnerships for this reason, even though the emotion is so strong. They often don't want others to know how vulnerable they truly are because it makes them feel less than, but it's precisely by showing their vulnerability to their partner that takes them even higher into a higher state of being and love. Juno in Cancer craves a partner that's going to come in and just show how much they care, show how much they love you. You know, fluff the pillows, hug them, let them cry, let them feel their emotions. They need to feel safe. That is the most important thing for Juno in Cancer. Juno and Leo. These individuals are typically quite generous with their affection, with their love, even with their items. And they want to be respected for that. And if they're not, these are huge trigger points for Juno and Leo. They typically treat others with respect and expect the same in return. But sometimes in the lower end, the shadow vibration here, they can end up with a partner who steps on them or stomps out their lights because they're not standing up for themselves in their partnerships. But when they do actually stand up and use their voice, it usually works out quite well for them. Juno and Leo will typically attract a partner that's vivacious and warm. Think Leo, the sun, center of attention type of individuals that typically tend to be more extroverted than they themselves are. Now, problems can come in if Juno and Leo individual is extremely extroverted and then their partner comes in and steals the spotlight. That could be where we get a little bit of the loggerhead energy and the lower vibration of the Juno and Leo. Juno and Leo is one of those placements too where someone can end up with somebody who's in the limelight in some form or fashion, or they themselves could be in the limelight and their partner is not necessarily in the limelight or want to be. Juno and Virgo, these individuals are very detail orientated. They have a rule book for everything. And one of their challenges is to drop that rule book when it comes to romantic partnerships, especially because not everyone is going to tick every single box for you. It's just not possible. And if they do, that's amazing, but usually they won't. So if you're Juno and Virgo, you have to try hard not to criticize every single thing that's missing from a partnership because you yourself don't really take criticism very well either. Juno and Virgo are usually multitaskers. They can get a lot accomplished, extremely intelligent, and have a lot of good attention to detail. They fare well with a partner who can match this for them. Somebody that's not really messy, that can take ownership and accountability and help them out with chores. Virgo is a placement that typically will show love through acts of service. And so Juno and Virgo will typically attract somebody who, will wash their car for them or, bring them breakfast in bed. It's just things like that. These little things that you do, take out the garbage. It's more like the practical things, not so much breakfast in bed, but it's more like the practical things like the garbage, the car, things of that nature. That's Juno and Virgo. That's how these people will show their love. And that's also what they like to receive, what makes them feel safe and comfortable. Juno and Libra. There's a huge theme and element of equality and inequality in our relationships if your Juno falls in the sign of Libra. If anyone is treating you less than, it will drive you up the wall. You will not be able to stay in that connection. And if you find yourself in a connection of that nature, it's just going to it's going to be really difficult to stay there. You really dislike if you feel any type of competition with a partner in your life. It will create massive disharmony and distress for you if you're a Juno and Libra. And you'll do whatever you can to even things out. And this is where the lower vibration of this energy can come to play because you'll do things to your detriment to make things right. And if someone accuses you of not being fair or not being attentive to their needs, that can really do a number on your soul and on your psyche because all you want to do is be fair all the time. And you typically will go above and beyond for that. So for Juno and Libra, the best partner for you is an individual that is balanced in their affections and their expressions towards you. Also a fair individual that likes to see all sides of a story. all sides of a person before making a decision. Not very impulsive. Somebody who's willing to meet others halfway is ideal for a Juno and Libra. Also, Juno and Libra really doesn't like to argue a whole lot unless it's constructive. Occasionally, that's okay for them, but they really like equality and harmony in their partnerships. If your Juno falls in the sign of Scorpio, you really get triggered when somebody undermines your authority or undermines your powers of perception or intelligence, especially if somebody tries to pull the wool over your eyes or they betray you in some way. You like to be and need to be in the know at all times within your partnerships, or you just don't feel safe or correct. Now, in the lower vibration, the shadow side to the Juno and Scorpio is that you often spend so much time creating this self-fulfilling prophecy of somebody actually betraying you that you look for it, and then when it happens, you're done quickly. Juno and Scorpio is one of those more difficult placements because it is very deep and intense. And so for Juno and Scorpio, you definitely do require a partner who can go really deep into the intimacy with you, and also somebody who understands your intense love nature and also your possessive nature, because Juno and Scorpio can definitely be possessive, and you absolutely would need to be with a partner that you didn't feel that you had to be as possessive over. Be with somebody that you truly can trust. They can't really feed your insecurities on purpose, or it's not going to work. It could actually get extremely contentious at that point if that were the case. Definitely need a very understanding partner if you have Juno and Scorpio. Juno and Sagittarius. These individuals love their freedom, they love their independence, they like to take chances and they like to take risks to an extent, and they absolutely need a partner who allows them their adventures and allows them to go on their journeys and does not constrict them. At the same time, Juno and Sagittarius really demand respect over their beliefs and their ideas. They're often very educated individuals, and they want you to know that. They can become very upset if others are cutting them off or not allowing them to talk and have their words. But at the same time, sometimes they can go overboard and not allow others to talk and have their words. So there's a balancing act here with Juno and Sagittarius. Juno and Sagittarius really seeks a partner who will go on adventures with them, but more importantly, somebody who truly respects their opinions and allows them to have their space and their beliefs, even if they don't necessarily believe in the same thing. They need a partner who allows them to express themselves as they please, express themselves in full totality. Juno and Capricorn are usually very accomplished people. They set out to do certain things, and you can bet your butt that they typically do it, and they expect a partner, or they crave a partner who's very driven and motivated, and somebody who they can build an empire with, really, at the core of it. They want someone who they feel can show up for them and help them to build something of substance. They have a very strong need for boundaries, for honor, and for accountability. Also order and structure, because it is an earth sign. These are very responsible individuals, and they require the same from a partner. They don't want to have to worry about somebody being a mess or, going out at all hours of the night and not knowing when they're coming home. Juno and Capricorn can absolutely not deal with that. So they also need a partner who has ownership and accountability of their own actions, who takes pride in their work but is not a workaholic, and somebody who believes in them and what they're doing. Very important if you're Junos and Capricorn. Juno and Aquarius individuals are actually very strong individuals. Individuality is the key word with Juno and Aquarius. And typically they will be drawn to eccentric partners. They need their partners to respect them and to also be their friend. They will not tolerate anyone that's possessive over them, or at least they won't want to tolerate anyone that's possessive over them, because Juno and Aquarius are typically not possessive. They just kind of let people be. They live and they let live. But at the same time, they're very big on respect. Juno and Aquarius doesn't really do well with egoism and drama. They just don't. So if you're looking for a partner and their Juno is in Aquarius, just know that these people do not like drama, and they will walk. They just won't deal with it. Juno and Pisces. This is probably one of the more difficult placements because it's so sensitive. And if your Juno falls in Pisces, you're really looking to merge with another individual. You want somebody that you can be very spiritual with and just, dream with and just kind of check out of life with, right? And now that's not always realistic. So on the shadow side, you don't want someone that's too much that way, because then you'll never have your feet on the ground realistically. But if your Juno's in Pisces, you definitely crave privacy in your partnerships. You want to create your own sanctuary with your partner. nobody else is a part of, and that could be a good thing at times, but it can also be a negative thing at times. Juno in Pisces wants to be allowed to have the freedom to not be boxed in and to not have a partnership follow specific guidelines. It's like working within the confines of that specific partnership, which has its own set of rules. Juno and Pisces, as sensitive as they are, they don't necessarily follow a script with their partnerships. They can often be hard to pin down, so they also need a partner that allows them their space and their freedom. They are a mutable sign. So a partner or a friend who really resists the closeness factor with the Juno and Pisces is going to be very frustrating for this placement, because their desire above all else is to merge and kind of blend into one, to become one with Juno and Pisces, whether you're a friend or more. Okay, so there's just some basic info on Juno through all of the signs. Be sure to identify your Juno, see if it's making any aspects to the other planets, and do a little research, and definitely look to the Juno traits of that sign, because those are the qualities that you have within yourself. It's like the mirror image, but also what you desire. And so you can see how this applies to your life and ways in which you may find that you've honored this for yourself, or maybe ways in which you have not honored this for yourself. And hopefully it will give you some more insight. Take really good care of yourselves, and I'll be back soon with another video. Be sure to like this video if you like this content, and smash the bell icon so that you do get notified as I upload more videos.